Hello, Las Vegas. My name is Mel Tiller, and as always, I'm thrilled to be hanging out with you, thrilled to be your host. And my guest today is Mr. Emmette Gates. He is a documentarian, and you are going to love this interview. You're going to love the information that he shares with you. Emmette, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Listen, you're a documentarian. You have a very exciting project that you're working on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, our current project is titled, or the working title right now is Across the Tracks, a Las Vegas West Side story, in which we plan to tell the story of the historic West Side in Las Vegas. Nowadays, when people hear West Las Vegas, they think Summerlin, because that is the westernmost part. But the historic West Side, the original West Side, just west of the tracks, there's an interesting story there that we intend to flesh out and let people know about.
All right. So how far are you going back?
We are going back. The story officially, of course, starts in 1905, when Las Vegas is officially considered a city, not a city, but a small town, a railroad town.
Right.
But Black people coming into the Southern Nevada Valley starts in the 1800s. So with our research and what we're learning, there's been people of color here for quite some time.
All right. So how long have you been working on this project?
We are about 7 months in now. We're still in the pre-production phases.
All right, so 7 months in. Tell me something that you've learned about Black Las Vegas and something you want to convey in your documentary that we may not know.
Oh man, there's so much. Let me see, what is the most interesting tidbit? Oh, okay. The Springs Preserve, which,
okay,
there's a museum there, that was initially owned by a Black man. Yeah. And so we're going to tell that story. Yeah.
Okay.
It was,
all right.
That was considered Paiute reservation territory. And this brother owned it. Yeah, he was married to a Paiute woman. He owned it. Then, of course, gas got it. And then it became the main water source for the Las Vegas Valley eventually. Because we're going to talk in 1800s before Nevada was even, I don't even know if Nevada was a state at that time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was still just considered Paiute territory.
Okay. Talk to me about some of the contributions of the early Black culture to Nevada, because quite often our history is erased, blurred, pushed to the side, ignored. So talk to me about some of our history and the contributions of our people.
Well, initially, you had two town sites, right? You had the railroad track that was running through the valley, and there were two town sites. The first one was the McWilliams town site. Now, a lot of people don't know that what is considered the historic West Side today, that was the initial plan for Las Vegas itself.
Okay.
It was called Williams town site. But then Clark, and we'll talk about this in the film, Clark started his town site just east of the tracks. And because Clark had the water rights, that became the desirable part of town. So a lot of the businesses and the people who had been living in the McWilliams town site then moved over to Clark. Now, initially, Black people lived in Clark, the Clark town site as well. They had businesses there. They had, they had their homes there. And it wasn't until the completion of Hoover Dam and the completion of Hoover Dam and the ending of prohibition and the legalization of gambling, that's when it was decided that Black business licenses would only be renewed in the McWilliams town site, west of the tracks. And so then, Black people were kind of forced to go there.
Talk to me about this. We see so often in our culture the repeat of this, where our culture, Black folks start to ascend financially, start to make things happen as businessmen, start making money, start seeing financial power. And then the powers that be intentionally tear it down, break it down, stop it in its tracks. And okay, the big example is Black Wall Street. We know this also happened. This also happened in Florida. Okay, we know that it also happened in Memphis, where they burned down, tore down Bill Street. I mean, again and again and again and again, as when Black communities start to ascend, there is this intentional tearing down of that system that allows us to flourish. And then the story is Black folks are lazy, Black folks aren't smart, Black folks are not capable of understanding or growing, or Black folks are not able to gain great financial wealth or do things that look like and sound like smart, intelligent, strong, and strong people. So talk to me about that and how that has kind of fit into what we see here in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Public Enemy had an album in the 1990s titled Fear of a Black Planet. And that has been a recurring theme in American history, because with financial empowerment, with educational empowerment, you get political empowerment.
Yes.
And so that, I think that's the main driving force. That has always been the fear of certain elements in this country, is that I mean, we saw it when Obama was elected. There were people who really believed that we would take revenge collectively. We would enslave them. There were people that actually believed that. As absurd as it is, So there's always been that. But through it all, we have always remained resilient, right? Okay, I mean, it's like it's the greatest musical art form start right here in America, because we were excluded from, oh, we can't go there. Okay, we'll do our own thing. Oh, you don't want us there? That we've become really good at that. And Jackson Avenue, which is still there on the west side now, is a testament to that. When you look at the history, that was the Black Strip. When people in Las Vegas, Black people in Las Vegas, were excluded from enjoying the amenities that tourists and white residents took for granted, we said, okay, we'll just build our own. And guess what? We got better music. We got more lively entertainment overall. And a lot of y'all want to come over here and party with us. And that's what happened.
I love that. So when do you expect to finish and debut your documentary?
February of 2024, just in time for Black American History Month, as well as the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is going to come here, so it'll be a great time to, yeah. So, but February 2024, that's when it should be. That's our release, our estimated release time.
How many people are working on your project with you?
Oh man, we got a great team. We have four, as far as production, four. We have a director, Robert Perez. We have, we're working with Clay T. White from UNLV. She's going to make sure we get the history right. And we're working with some other historians. I reached out to historians, not just in Vegas, but around the country, who can take us back to that time. Because this isn't just, we're talking, okay, when we think of Black American history, we know all about Selma. We know all about Montgomery. We know about Harlem. And those are great histories. Rarely do we think of Las Vegas when we think about the greater American Black history. So that's what this is. While all of this was happening around the country, this is how Black Las Vegas reacted to it.
You said something that was very interesting to me. You talked about the Black Strip. That is a phrase that I had not heard before. And so you actually know where the Black Strip was, and you actually know about the clubs and establishments and so forth that were on the Black Strips, and those things that actually made it the Black Strip.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah. There was some great, a lot of our greats, and I've been talking to a lot of elders who grew up on the West Side, like from childhood on, and now they're in their 80s and 90s. And they tell me of a time when you could be walking down the sidewalk, down J Street, H Street, Jackson Avenue, and you might see Nat King Cole walking down the street. You might see Pearl Bay. And all because they shared the same skin color. And it was, there's just some amazing stories that I cannot wait to share with the rest of the world from some of these people who are still here, who were witness to some of the things that happened. But if you were Black, it didn't matter how rich you were. It didn't matter where you were on the charts musically. As soon as you were done performing on the Las Vegas Strip for an exclusively white crowd, you were then pushed out of the kitchen. You couldn't even walk through the main exit. You had to go through the kitchen, get in your car, and go back to the West Side. And so these are the stories that people don't know. They come here, they look around, and they celebrate as they should, but they don't know that history, and they need to know. Because if you look at the amount of Black entertainers who are on the Strip now, right, this the history becomes even more interesting.
So talk to me about some of those clubs. We know about the famous Moulin Rouge, but apparently there had to be some other establishments, some other clubs, perhaps some other casinos that house this great entertainment. Tell me about some of these establishments.
You have the Carver House, you have the Cotton Club,
the Cotton Club of Las Vegas.
Yes, it was Las Vegas. It had nothing to do with the New York venue. And there was like, if you go down Jackson Avenue right now, you will see that there's a lot of abandoned buildings and whatnot, because over the years it has fallen into disrepair. But there was a time when that was that was the hub of activity. It was an economic hub. It brought money into the West Side. It employed people on the West Side. On the Strip, Black people could only be employed as maids or porters, or you worked in the back of the house taking garbage out. Here was a place where you could be a dealer. A lot of people credit the Moulin Rouge as if that was, because that was the nation's first integrated casino.
Yes.
But long before the Moulin Rouge was there, we had a bustling place of gambling, of dancing, live music with some of the biggest names right there on Jackson Avenue.
This is so exciting. I can't wait to hear more. We're going to have you come back. And even before you finish, tell us about the updates, things that you've learned. So what would you like to leave our audience with?
I want them to stay tuned. And I want them to understand that the biggest reason for this documentary, I mean, there's several. We want to preserve history. We want young people, especially who grew up there or who live there, to know the strong history of their neighborhood. But most importantly, as Las Vegas continues to grow, as the flux of people from around the nation move into Las Vegas, because it's happening fast, and with the location of where the historic West Side is right now, there's a lot of opportunity for developers and real estate folks to come in there, buy cheap, and then build up. What's most important is that no matter how much money comes in there, no matter what businesses get built there, the heritage is maintained, right?
Yes.
That people understand this. We don't want this to just become another extension of downtown where they start pushing stuff off. We start having Starbucks over there. We want that, just like you have a Chinatown, just like you have a Little Russia or whatever, anybody can visit and anybody can live there. But when you're walking those streets, you know what heritage is being preserved.
Yes.
And that's what's important, that Jackson Avenue does not lose its identity, does not get disconnected from its history. And then not just Jackson Avenue, the entire surrounding area. So that's it.
Well, that's an exciting idea. Jackson Avenue, the Black Strip, Carver House, the Cotton Club. I'm very excited. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Can't wait to see how this stimulates the growth of the area. It's certainly something that needs to be preserved, and it is a story that needs to be told. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Mr. Emmette Gates. He is a documentarian, and he is putting together a documentary that is called Across the Tracks, and it's going to tell the story of the historic West Side. Emmette, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
And you've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be, and that's Keeping It 100.